In this video, we are putting two brand new budget-friendly heavyweights head-to-head, the Samsung Galaxy A06 and the Redmi 14C. Both are packed with features and solid performance, but which one of these smartphones truly deserves your money? Well, that's what we're about to find out, and so, without taking much of your time, yo guys, let's get started. When unboxing, Samsung just keeps it simple with the phone, a SIM ejector, USB-C cable, and the user guide. Redmi feels more generous with the added charger out of the box. This is something I really appreciate about Redmi. When it comes to design, honestly, that's the first thing you notice when you pick either of these devices. The Samsung Galaxy A06, look, it's classic Samsung. You get the glossy, reflective back with a sleek frame that mirrors what you get from the flagship pricier models. The A06 has that clean and sleek Samsung aesthetic, but you're going to be wiping off smudges constantly. It's a fingerprint magnet. The upside though, at just 189 grams, it should be considered a light device and you won't feel it weighing you down in your pocket. On the other hand, the Redmi 14C has a bit more personality. It's got this eco leather finish on the back, depending on the model you get, which feels way more premium than you'd expect for a budget device. Plus, it's not slippery like the Samsung's mirror finish here. Not to mention there are little to no fingerprints sticking around on the 14C. However, it's noticeably heavier at over 200 grams, so if a lighter device is a must for you, the Samsung might be the better fit. But hey, if you're into a more unique textured feel in the hand, the Redmi's Eco Leather is straight up cool. Both devices are not IP rated, meaning you shouldn't dip them in water. Also, you get a fast fingerprint scanner to the sides of these devices. If you get any of these devices, you are offered micro SD card support and dual SIM trays, so you won't need to choose between an extra SIM card or more storage, which is super convenient. Now, one bonus on the Redmi 14C is the NFC feature, at least depending on the market. Samsung left NFC off the A06, which is a bit of a letdown for those who want contactless payments. If you're into contactless payments or need NFC for pairing devices, that's another reason the Redmi 14C might catch your eye. Which one would you pick? Let me know in the comment section below. Both smartphones have down-firing speakers, and from my tests, the Redmi 14C has the better sounding audio, especially considering the clarity at the top end and the clean bass from the speakers when compared to the Samsung Galaxy A06. And here's a microphone test between these two devices. Hi guys, here's a microphone test or audio test on the Samsung Galaxy A06 and the Redmi 14C. Let me know which you prefer and which sounds best for you. Hi guys, here's a microphone test or audio test on the Samsung Galaxy A06 and the Redmi 14C. Let me know which you prefer and which sounds best for you. Let's talk about the screens here. Both of these smartphones come with large, immersive displays, but here's the thing, they are not exactly the same when it comes to what you see on them. The Samsung Galaxy A06 features a 6.7-inch PLS LCD display and runs at 720p. It's decent for the price, and honestly, if watching YouTube videos or scrolling through social media is all you're doing, you'll be fine with this device. It has a respectable screen-to-body ratio at 83.3%, which is great for enjoying content, but once you look at the Redmi 14C, it might start feeling a little vanilla. The Redmi 14C steps it up here with a 6.88-inch IPS LCD display, which not only hits 120Hz as far as the refresh rate, but also goes brighter at 600 nits peak brightness. This means the Redmi would give you better visuals under direct sunlight. It's smooth, it's vibrant, and just feels more responsive, especially when you're scrolling or gaming. So if you're all about the buttery smooth visuals, Redmi's display really shines, pun intended. But the Samsung screen still gets the job done if you're not super picky about the refresh rate and just want something functional and clear. So at the end of the day, the Redmi 14C is the device to pick as far as displays here. So these displays don't have any form of protection, which means getting a screen protector would be a smart choice if longevity is a priority. Alright, how about what's under the hood? Both of these smartphones are powered by different versions of MediaTek Helio chipset. In the Samsung A06, we've got the Helio G85, which performs decently for everyday tasks. Whether you're switching between apps or watching videos, this guy handles it all without hiccups. It's paired with up to 6 gigs of RAM, which keeps things smooth, even with a bunch of tabs open. The Redmi 14C, however, runs on the Helio G81 processor, a newer chipset from MediaTek that was announced about 4 years later. However, regarding general performance, the G85 seems to be slightly better. I wouldn't say there's a night and day difference in performance between these devices, but if I had to pick, The Samsung might feel a tad snappier in certain scenarios, but this wouldn't be noticeable for a lot of people, especially using these smartphones for day-to-day activities. Plus, Redmi gives you options up to 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of internal storage, while Samsung for this A06 caps at 6 gigs and 128 gigabytes memory configuration. That's more flexibility if you're someone who likes to hoard a lot of photos, videos, or apps. When it comes to gaming, these are not the best gaming devices. Of course, they can play high-end titles, but don't expect them to play without a stutter. They are not gaming devices. For those of you who would love to see the benchmark scores, here are Antutu, Geekbench, and 3D Mark comparisons and scores between these smartphones. If you're enjoying this video so far, do not forget to subscribe and join this fantastic tech community. Also, do not forget to like and share as it helps us a bunch. Thank you. Software is a big part of the experience on smartphones, and when it comes to these devices, I actually prefer One UI over MIUI because it's clean. Both of these devices run on Android 14 out of the box, and we are sure to get 2 years of software updates on the Samsung, which is likely going to be the case for the Redmi device here, but there isn't any official word for that as far as I know. I'll let you know in the description if there is for the Redmi device here. Now let's dive into something that really matters for most of us, the cameras. Starting with the specs, the Samsung Galaxy A06 rocks a dual camera setup, while the Redmi 14C steps it up with a triple camera system. Both come with a 50 megapixel main shooter, and they've thrown in a 2 megapixel depth sensor. As for the front-facing cameras, you get 8 megapixels on the A06 and a 13 megapixel selfie cam on the Redmi 14C. When it comes to the rear photos, both smartphones hold their ground in sharpness and detail with that 50 megapixel main camera. But here's where things start to diverge a bit. The Galaxy A06 tends to go for the cooler temperature, giving your shots a slight blue tint, while the Redmi 14C leans warmer. I also noticed that Samsung throws in extra contrast and sharpening, so if you really like those punchy, saturated colors, Samsung's got you covered. On the flip side, the Redmi smoothens out the skin tones, making it more forgiving if you want a softer look. One thing I couldn't ignore though is the slight magenta tint you get from the Redmi 14C. It's not a deal breaker, but definitely something to note, especially if color accuracy is a big deal for you. And then there's this portrait mode. Honestly, I'm leaning towards the Redmi 14C here. Both smartphones do a decent job with edge detection, but Redmi nails the skin tones and overall color balance, making those portrait shots look more natural and flattering. Moving to the selfies, this is where Redmi pulls ahead. With that 13 megapixel sensor and HDR support, selfies just look sharper and more vibrant. Skin tones are natural, and overall, the photos have more pop on the Redmi. Samsung's 8 megapixel camera isn't bad, but side by side, the Redmi 14C clearly delivers a more detailed and dynamic shot. Onto the videos, both smartphones cap out at 1080p, so no 4K magic here. When it comes to the front-facing video though, Redmi takes the win. The colors on the Galaxy A06 just feel a bit off, especially with the blacks not looking truly black and the skin tones feeling a little washed out. In comparison, the Redmi 14C does a better job at keeping the skin tones accurate, and the overall color reproduction is just more pleasing to the eye. As for the rear video recording, both smartphones are pretty similar in quality. The Galaxy A06 sticks to its more saturated look, while the Redmi 14C smoothens out the skin tones a bit more. It really comes down to what you prefer, punchy colors with the Samsung or a softer, more balanced look with the Redmi 14C. Both of these smartphones offer excellent battery life, but there are differences. The Samsung Galaxy A06 sports a 5000 mAh battery with 25 watts wired charging, while the Redmi 14C ups the ante a bit with a 5160 mAh battery, but Redmi's charger tops out at 33 watts. So while you get a slightly bigger battery with Redmi, the Redmi will have you juiced up a little faster because of the higher charging rate. And while we're on the topic of chargers, Samsung didn't include any charger within the box, so you'll need to buy a charger separately if you grab the A06. Meanwhile, Redmi still throws one in, and that's definitely a win for Team Redmi, especially considering how rare it is these days. These two smartphones retail for about $100 or 170,000 naira, but most times you would get the Redmi 14C for about $10 or 10,000 naira off, making it the better value for money since you're offered more accessories out of the box. Alright, let's wrap things up. If you're the type of person who enjoys a premium feeling design and a higher refresh rates in terms of the display, and you want a little flexibility with storage, then the Redmi 14C is a no-brainer. It's a solid choice, especially if you're into getting more bang for your buck. But if you're more comfortable sticking with something familiar and polished, the Samsung Galaxy A06 brings the clean flagship-inspired design, snappy performance, and slightly quicker charging to the table. So it's missing the extras like a charger in the box or NFC, but it's still a solid pick if you're not reliant on those features. So which of these budget titans are you leaning towards? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and also here's a video where I compared the Galaxy A06 against the A05s. Go check it out. I'ma catch you in the next one. Koidate.